Welcome to week 2, part 2 of the Master Key system. We just completed week 2. It's Sunday today, by the time I uploaded this video. Let me get straight into it. So I'm just gonna reread, because I remember I read it last week, the intro for this part, like a summary, I believe. Part 2. Part 2 tells and why. My bad. Part 2 tells how and why the operations of mind are carried on by two parallel modes of activity, the one conscious and the other subconscious. It explains why the thought processes of the subconscious are the theatre of the most important mental phenomena, why ease and perfection depend entirely upon the degree in which we cease to depend upon the subconscious. It explains the origin of all great, noble, brilliant thoughts and ideas, why we find ourselves sometimes endowed with tact, instinct, courage, sagacity, and inspiration. In fact, it tells of a vast mental storehouse in which 90% of our thought processes originate. It explains how this vast mental storehouse may be placed under the supervision and in the keeping of the conscious mind. It tells why those who are familiar with the laws governing in this larger mental domain are enabled to achieve, to become writers, authors, artists, ministers, captains of industry, and why all others must necessarily remain less than 10% efficient. Alright, so that was it. This week was a very interesting week. So the main thing for this week, it was again talking about the subconscious and the conscious mind, right? Again, it touches on how the conscious mind is how we perceive the physical, the material world, everything we see, everything we feel, everything that applies to our five senses, anything we can experience with our five senses. That's what the conscious deals with. That's what the conscious deals with and perceives. It also talked about how the subconscious is the mental plane, which is greater than what our conscious mind can comprehend and understand, right? It talks about how it kind of gives this little, no breakdown, but it kind of introduces the subconscious in a sense by talking about how everything in our body, even just me just sitting here, my body is functioning like to preserve life. The subconscious is working at all times. It's on automatic. So this book let me see if I can find where it said it in particular. Please, I just want to find it. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? This is one thing I want, yeah. The subconscious soul, like a benevolent stranger, works and makes provision for our benefit, pouring only the mature fruit into our lap. Thus, ultimate analysis of thought processes show that the subconscious is the theatre of the most important mental phenomena. And for what I got from that is just saying how, talking about how everything the subconscious is operated to work in our favor, to our advantage, but due to us accepting bad thoughts, which is gonna talk. It's gonna touch on later in this chapter, like by suggestions that we receive from this outside world, because the subconscious mind is what impresses the subconscious mind. You know, this book talks about how the conscious mind is the ruler and the guard. So how in the Bible even says that we should I can't remember the exact verse, forgive me, but it talks about how we should protect our hearts and our minds. So that's essentially what this book is kind of talking about when it's talking about how the conscious mind is the guard, and when at times we may our conscious mind due to certain circumstances, the subconscious may be left unguarded. You know, when we're not really choosing to utilize our reasoning will, our reason, like our mind to decide whether or not to accept what we're seeing or what we're experiencing or not. And from there, that's where it gets dangerous for the subconscious mind, because that's when negative things can impress on the subconscious mind. Things like insecurity, self-appreciation, fear, worry, anger, all that sort of stuff, you know. And yeah, so and that's how it that's when the subconscious mind can be negative and can work in a negative way to our disadvantage. Because why? All it's doing it operates on what it's on what it has a statement in this book. Somebody said a statement. I think the guy's name was Pete Davidson. Let me find what I was talking about earlier when I was talking about how the subconscious mind. No, not Professor Davidson. Someone made a statement, but let me keep looking. It says, yeah. It says, the value of the subconscious mind is enormous. It inspires us, it warns us, it furnishes us with names, facts, and scenes from the storehouse of memory. It directs our thoughts, tastes, and accomplishes tasks so intricate that no conscious mind, even if it had power, has the capacity for. We can walk at will, we can raise the arm whenever we choose to do so. We can give our attention through eye or ear to any subject at pleasure. On the other hand, we cannot stop our heartbeats, nor the circulation of the blood, nor the growth of stature, nor the formation of nerve and muscle tissue, nor the building of bones, nor many other important vital processes. If we compare these two sets of action, the one decreed by the will of the movement and the other proceeding in majestic rhythmic course, subject to no vacillation, but constant at every moment, we stand in awe of the latter and ask to have the mystery explained. We see at once that these are the vital processes of our physical life, and we cannot avoid the inference that these all-important functions are designedly withdrawn from the domain of our outward will, with its variations and transitions, and placed under the direction of a permanent, dependable power within us. So yeah, it talks about how this right here explains the nature of the subconscious mind, because it has to be something greater running. It isn't our conscious will, our conscious mind that's running our body. It's all done in is on autopilot. My body is functioning on autopilot to preserve my life, to keep me alive, to keep me living, to keep me healthy. You know, even when it comes to the immune system, just the fighting of cells, just to preserve health and life. And that explains the nature. That all denotes the nature of the subconscious mind, and it's the same way in the mental aspect of the subconscious. You know, that's the physical, but it's the same in the mental. Let me keep reading. There's something else. I want to see if I can find that. Whatever. I had to highlight some key points I wanted to kind of touch on here, so I'll just touch on that. Here it says, it is necessary to have a clear understanding of their respective functions. Wait. Let me carry on reading with what. Let me finish off what I was. I know the sentence following after the previous sentence I made. Of these two powers, the outward and changeable has been termed the conscious mind or the objective mind, dealing with outward objects. The interior power is called the subconscious mind or the subjective mind. Besides its work on the mental plane, it controls the higher functions, the regular functions, which make physical life possible. And now we're gonna go into the other points. Whether it has the so it's talking about the conscious mind. It has the faculty of discrimination, carrying with it the responsibility of choice. It has the power of reasoning, whether inductive, deductive, analytical, syllogistic, and this power may be developed to a higher degree. It is the seat of will, with all energies that flow therefrom. Not only can it impress other minds, but it can direct the subconscious mind. In this way, the conscious mind becomes the responsible ruler and guardian of the conscious mind, of the subconscious mind. It is this high function which can completely reverse conditions in your life. It is often true that conditions of fear, worry, poverty, disease, inharmony, and evils of all kind dominate us by the reason of false suggestions accepted by the unguarded subconscious mind. All this has trained the conscious mind. The trained conscious mind can entirely prevent by its vigilant protective action. It may properly be called the watchman at the gates of the great subconscious domain. One writer expressed the chief distinction between the two phases of mind. Thus, the conscious mind is reasoning will. Subconscious mind is instinctive desire, the result of past reasoning will. The subconscious mind draws just and accurate inferences from premises furnished from outside sources. Where the premise is true, the subconscious mind reaches a faultless conclusion. But where the premise or suggestion is an error, the whole structure falls. The subconscious mind does not engage in the process of proving. It relies upon the conscious mind, the watchman at the gate, to guard it from mistaken impressions. So yeah, the conscious mind, our conscious mind, what we think with, what we reasoning will, is as what they call it, is what allows and accepts or denies certain information or beliefs from entering the subconscious mind, pretty much. The conscious mind ought to be on duty every waking hour. When the watchman is off guard, or when its calm judgment is suspended under a variety of circumstances, then the subconscious mind is unguarded and left open to suggestion from all sources during the wild excitement of panic, or during the height of anger, or during the impulses of the irresponsible mob, or at any other time of unrestrained passion. The conditions are most dangerous. The subconscious mind is then open to the suggestion of fear, hatred, selfishness, greed, self-depreciation, and other negative forces derived from its surrounding persons or circumstances. The result is usually unwholesome in the extreme, with events that may endure to distress it for a long time. Hence, the great importance of guarding the subconscious mind from false impressions. Yeah. The subconscious mind perceives by intuition, hence its processes are rapid. It does not wait for the slow methods of conscious reasoning. In fact, it cannot employ them. So our subconscious mind, it never sleeps. It's not like the conscious. It's on autopilot. It's the same way. I think we talked about this in the last chapter. How electricity, now because we understand the laws, electricity is kind of for our benefit. The fact that I can use this laptop, this mic, the electricity is not trying to harm. It has no motive. It can be used for our benefit. But if misused, electricity can harm you. It can shock you. You know what I'm trying to say? So that's how I look at that. The subconscious mind cannot argue controversially. Hence, if it has accepted the wrong suggestions, the sure method of overcoming them is by the use of strong counter suggestion, frequently repeated, which the mind must accept, thus eventually forming new and healthy habits of thoughts and life. For the subconscious mind is the seat of habit. That we do over and over becomes mechanical. It is no longer an act of judgment, but has worn its deep grooves in the subconscious mind. This is favorable for us if the habit be wholesome and right. If it be harmful or wrong, the remedy is to recognize the omnipotence of the subconscious mind and to just present actual freedom. The subconscious being creative and one with our divine source will at once create the freedom suggested. To sum up, the normal functions of the subconscious. Actually, I don't think I need to read all this. Yeah, I don't think I need to read all this. But yeah, so my biggest takeaway from that was, any negative beliefs or my even anything like doubt, fear, worry, anything, especially in my journey of becoming a musician, anything holding me back from that is all stems from something in my past experience to which I have accepted it. So even if it's someone making a comment when I was young, I accepted that, then it's had an effect on how I view myself to this very day, because I'm only just learning about this and I haven't yet changed the full impression of my subconscious mind, So if I want to change it, I have to give a strong counter suggestion. So I'm assuming, if I'm feeling doubt, I have to feel extreme courage. If I'm extreme courage, and it must be strong enough to the point where the subconscious mind is forced to accept it, or the conscious mind is forced to accept it, then it gets passed into the subconscious mind, and then that's what's gonna run, pretty much, because the subconscious mind is automatic. So if it only projects if our life is only a projection of our mind, if I'm experiencing doubt, worry, fear, the subconscious mind, since it has accepted that, and it has no reason, it doesn't reason, because it's subconscious, it's just automatic. It's gonna create circumstances. The world will create, my universe will create certain circumstances for me to continually experience fear, worry, doubt. But once I give a strong counter suggestion to the point where the subconscious accepts that, and now that's running on autopilot, I'm going to be put in more situations where I experience the strong opposite. So opposite of fear, opposite of fear would be courage. Opposite of worry would be supreme confidence, or calm. I'll be calm. Fear. What I say? Fear, worry, doubt. I say fear, worry, doubt. Opposite of doubt, I guess I'll be hyping myself up. I will be certain. I'll be confident in myself and my ability. I won't be doubting myself. So that's the goal, and that's what I took away from this chapter. The task for this chapter, it was interesting. At first, it took me a while to understand it. In part 3. Okay, yeah. No. Let me. Yeah. Here's the task. In part 1, I gave you an exercise for the purpose of. So as you know, part 1 was our task for part 1 was sitting still and just not moving, just for like 15 to 30 minutes, not moving, just letting our thoughts roll. Don't judge them, don't hinder them, just let my thoughts all come out, pretty much. And that was to control our physical body. So let me read. In part 1, I gave you an exercise for the purpose of securing control of the physical body. If you have accomplished this, you are ready to advance. This time you will begin to control your thoughts. Always take the same room, the same chair, and the same position, if possible. In some cases, it is not convenient to take the same room. In this case, simply make the best use of such conditions as may be available. Now, perfectly still. Now, be perfectly still as before, but inhibit all thoughts. This will give you control over all thoughts of care, worry, and fear. It will enable you to entertain only the kind of thoughts you desire. Continue this exercise until you gain complete mastery. You will not be able to do this for more than a few moments at a time, but the exercise is valuable because it will be a very practical demonstration of the great number of thoughts which are constantly trying to gain access to your mental world. In part 3, you'll receive instructions for an exercise which may be a little more interesting, but it's necessary that you master this one first. So when I first read this year, I'll be real, when I first read this year, but I was mad confused. I was like, what do you mean inhibit all thoughts? So I was like, but aren't you always thinking? That's what I was, because aren't you always thinking? Your mind is always running. So I was kind of like, inhibit all thoughts, stop all thoughts. Aren't you, is that even possible? Right? So then, what did I do? I searched up, I went to search up, I was like, has anyone explained this? The task for part 2, has anyone explained it? Because I haven't watched anyone talk. This is my first time experiencing this book firsthand, right? I don't know what's to come. So when I read that I was really confused, blah blah. So I did research, and he really means inhibit all thought. But then he did also say in the book, you can only do this for moments. You will only be able to do this for small moments at a time. So it's not for the whole 15 minutes. But the main goal of the task is to help us get used to controlling what thoughts enter our mind, pretty much. So that's what I'm assuming. That's what I got from it, at least. I did this task like 3 times or twice. Yeah, I'm gonna do it again today though, but this week. But I wish I did it more. But again, I was a bit lazy this week. I was a little bit lazy. Even today I was a little bit lazy. But anyway, I will do it again today. But tomorrow I'm excited for part 3. That's what's then. When I did it, it was difficult. But then what I did notice is that he was right. Certain moments, it felt like your mind was just blank. My mind would just be blank for like certain moments, but it is possible to kind of stop thoughts from entering your mind. It is possible, and then certain moments, during small moments, you will experience what I can describe. I can just only describe it as like blank. Your mind will go blank for like a certain period of time. When you're not really thinking anything, your mind is just kind of there. Like, I don't know, there's nothing really on your mind, or you're not really thinking about much. But yeah, that was the task for this week. I mean, I'm excited for what's to come in this book. This book is running for 24 weeks, so that's 2 down. 22 more to go. We're entering part 3. I'm excited for this next week. This is especially if he said that the task for part 3 will be a bit more interesting. So I'm kind of intrigued to what it could be. I don't know. I'm not sure, but I'm really going to master this book. Yeah, pretty much. I'm still early in this book, the journey of this book. So there wasn't much to these first 2 weeks, as he kind of made it clear. I think, and then as I looked online as well, I think the first 2 chapters were kind of like just to get you started, So yeah, and I'm just gonna keep moving forward. Let me read part 3. What's part 3 gonna be about? I'm excited. Part 3 tells why the necessary action and interaction of the conscious and subconscious mind requires 2 corresponding systems of nerves. It explains how the connection is made between these 2 systems of nerves of nerves. It explains and tells of a central point in the body for the distribution of energy, how this energy is distributed, how the distribution of this energy gives the individual pleasant sensations, how the interruption of this distribution brings discord, inharmony, and lack and limitation of every kind. It tells of an enemy which must be destroyed, and tells how to destroy it. It tells what determines the experiences in life with which we are to meet, and why these experiences are under our own control. One enthusiastic reader said of this part, this document, in my opinion, is the single greatest document beneficial to mankind ever written in the history of the world. It is the first time that I have come into a true understanding of the silent powers that dominate and determine one's success. Now, if that's not exciting, I don't know what is. That sounds exciting. Okay. Great. Hey, what's his name? Charles F. Arnold. Don't get my hopes up like that. You talking about somebody says what a reader said is one of the greatest, bro, beneficial to mankind in the all of history, of all time. Okay, yeah, I'm holding you up to that. This chapter I'm expecting nothing less. I'm expecting to read this and be blown away this week. This week I actually the goal is to I want to apply the task every day this week. So it's all 7 days, not 3-4 days, all 7 days of the week. I want to apply this task, and I want to keep going back. I did go back to this chapter a bit more than last week, but I want to read. Maybe I want to read it every day, And like I said before, I'm just excited, man. I'm excited, I do have confidence in this book. I do think if I follow this book, since I'm following this book properly, I do believe it will change the way I look at life and change the way how I operate. And I'm just excited, man. This video is a bit longer than what I anticipated it to be, but I'm getting, breaking down a book. Not breaking down a book, but talking about a book I'm reading or a chapter I'm reading. I'm new to it, so sometimes it sounds like I'm waffling but as I go on with this, everything will probably become more structured and more everything will work at a better pace. But yeah, man, that's the Master Key System Part 2. Week 2 complete. 22 more weeks to go. This book is 6 months long. It's a 6-week course. 6-month course. I'm excited, man. But yeah, man, that's all I have to say. I believe. I think next week I'll probably have a lot more to say in terms of my experience with the book and with the task. And I'll see you guys at the next Master Key System episode, or I just call it episode. There's another word I was thinking of, but I couldn't think of it. But yeah, I'll see you then.